All right, home team. Welcome to another episode of Elevated and Chill, episode six.
Episode 6.
Six. I'm CJ. I'm your host, along with my co-host Dougie Fresh. Dougie, what's going
We
on? How's
here.
everything?
Bro, everything is good. The week was very good. I'm ready for another great session and great chill and ask. We have a really good
Chilling
conversation
out.
there too,
So
and
that.
got some good elevated advice for the end of the episode, but a lot to cover, a lot to unpack. So really excited there. The week was strong. A lot of fun stuff happening. We had a really nice day the other day, so we were out. The girls and I were just walking around, checking out the lake and everything, and that was the
Mm.
first time Dylan was down there
Oh,
seeing the
that's pretty
lake and hanging
cool.
out. So that was really nice. Yeah, it was like 70 some degrees, which it hasn't been that
Beautiful.
nice yet. So I'm
Be-
excited for that for sure. And then everything else is good, dude. Everything else is just solid. What about you? How's everything on your end?
everything is rocking and rolling. This week was a pretty good week. Got I'm all situated for Ghana. I know that's my next trip coming up. Got everything packed there.
Can't believe
Um,
how quick that came too. You and I were just talking about it, and it'll be here in a few weeks.
y- yeah, it's time. Like I was talking about one of my coworkers. Like March just flew by,
Yeah, like
and
it can't believe it's over already.
yeah, it's crazy how time just goes by so quickly. But yeah, got Ghana is got everything for Ghana. This week at work was pretty good. Uh, just yeah, it was a good week this week. I can't complain. Overall, you know what I'm saying. I went to the
Leads
game.
into a good podcast.
Yeah, it leads into a good podcast. I did go to the game yesterday with the beautiful weather. I know we're gonna talk about more about that later on in the session. Me and you were chatting about it at the game while I was there. But yeah, overall, great week. Which like you mentioned, it leads into a great session.
Word, dude. Well, I am excited to hop right in. I threw a couple of things out there, I know, throughout the week, to get your mind kind of going and kicking things off. But like the first thing I wanted to talk about, us being at episode 6, so almost like past the halfway point of the
Yep.
first season, which is like wild to think about, right? So, what have you been enjoying about the podcast? What do you love the most about what we're currently doing with the platform? And this could also go to the home team as well. Post a comment, let us know what you're thinking about. The way that I was thinking about it is like rank your top 3 favorite things you love about the podcast, or maybe it's not 3, maybe it's 1, but you can wrap it up in a nice like
Yeah.
bow. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think all purpose is my favorite thing here. I think judging by what when we had the vision of doing this, and where we wanted to go with this, I think having that initial purpose of, we wanted to elevate people, but we also wanted to create a safe space so you could chill, talk, and conversate about a lot of things, or different topics and stuff like that. I think it's like and which kind of segues into my next favorite thing, is, the journey. I think the journey overall has been, a roller coaster ride, a lot of ups and downs, getting started, but launching and all that stuff. I think, we're on a good, steady trajectory upward. Not to say like we still have a lot of work to go and a lot of progress to make. But I just think where we're at right now, we're building, laying the foundation, and I think it's, everything takes baby steps. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we also want to, like, stay in the moment and treasure this as much as possible. And honestly, the last thing is probably the interaction I have with you and the home team. The home team for sure is the icing on the cake. So shout out to you guys for supporting us, and helping us throughout this journey. Couldn't really do without any of you guys.
Yeah, I agree there. I definitely say that the top 3 thing for me too is definitely the audience, definitely the home
Yeah,
team, them being involved, commenting, subscribing, being a part of our community, wanting to help us grow. I think the foundational pieces, like you mentioned, is like the core portion of everything that we do here, right? That we have at the
yeah,
platform, right? Is like the foundation of our friendship as well as the foundation of like what we wanted to get out of this and where we
Yep.
wanted to be and the vision at the end of the day, which is to elevate other individuals and to chill and hang out and have a good time and use this platform as a positive way to continue to grow. I think what drove us to like and pushed us to do this and get out of our comfort zone was being together and setting our mind on a goal that we wanted to achieve and then taking that to new heights, right? Like
Yeah.
both of us didn't know what we were going to get ourselves into. We didn't have experience within this space prior. We just jumped in and we did it. And that's the fun part about it. That's the way that, for me, what keeps me focused on our goal, which is getting and making this platform better and achieving as much as we possibly can. Being, the third thing for me is just being proud of each other and where we've
Mhm.
come, right? Like what we've done and where we're going to. And just really throwing that out there as like this is a really cool opportunity for us to continue to grow ourselves, but also grow the audience a bit, and then just like talk and hang and be open about the things that we want to be open about. So I'm excited about it. I can't believe where, I would say this is a milestone episode for us. We've gotten past the halfway point. We're really
Yeah.
starting to make progress. There's a lot going on within the platform, as well as a lot of individuals that are interacting with it, which we're so
Yeah.
happy about. So yeah, I can't say anything negative at this moment, obviously, and hopefully we wouldn't, but it's all about like just us keeping a level head and moving forward and doing the things that we want to do and enjoying ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Being positive about everything is going to bring a positive manifestation as well. Even if there's ups and downs, it'll come with good time. So,
Yep.
what do you think on that? Anything else you wanted to touch on there?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, in terms of like how do you stay focused on your goals, I think it's just staying the course. You're never gonna achieve everything in one full setting. It's always just, kind of just staying the course, putting the work in, doing what you got to do, and then from there, the results will show eventually down the road. You just got to continue putting in the work, and I get that saying from the late greats Kobe Bean Bryant.
Send it.
He used to always say that in terms of just how he approached making it to the championships and being in the playoffs and stuff like that. Just staying the course. You're gonna have games where things are not going your way, and you got to figure it out. So I think I apply the same thing here. It may be a roller coaster ride, but definitely just staying the course and and staying keeping the main thing the main thing. That's like the biggest thing. And home team, let us know whether it be a top one, top three, maybe a top five, striving for top 10. Let us know what you think about, how you guys have been enjoying the podcast so far. We love your feedback. We take that into consideration. And yeah, you guys are a part of this as much as we are. So we're excited for your feedback and hopefully whatever feedback it is will definitely help in this journey that we're both on.
Yeah,
We
I
all
love
are.
that. I love that. Stay in the course, keep it going. I think something else Kobe would always say is, "Job's not finished."
Jobs
Job's
ain't
not
finished.
finished, and what we're bringing to the table now is going to be different in the future, but like
Yeah,
it's still a wild ride to see where we are and what we have ahead of us, and I'm super super excited about that. To keep
gotcha.
that business thread, to keep that mindset
And
going,
evolution. I know,
and
I know, I know. I know what you're gonna talk. Go ahead.
well, we were talking about this earlier in the week, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this whole cryptocurrency type thing.
Yep.
I know early this week, Japan released a statement saying that they've officially are going to be backing crypto. They're releasing like a legal like status around real financial products that will be backing crypto. We know that originally crypto did not have like anything backing it. It was very
Hmm.
volatile. Like wasn't sure if we wanted to invest. Didn't I haven't yet invested. So like
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on this like coming to life and crypto actually being like backed by real assets? Like how our already existing currencies are. I know this is in a different country, but like
Yeah.
that means it's going to take shape across the world here soon.
World. I think what crypto is, you just mentioned, it's the volatility of the currency. Because there's no concrete, stable backing behind it. So I think Japan making this first effort to make it a legitimate currency within their country and also provide the backing and support, it'll bring down the volatility. And therefore, I mean, it could be a viable option in terms of, currency. We're kind of progressing in a more digital way anyway. I know like some of the stadiums they don't even do cash anymore.
Hmm.
They do straight cash. I mean, I'm sorry, credit card. So I just think that's just the evolution of the world. I mean, I know we mentioned AI on one of our later episodes as well, early episodes. I'm sorry. And that just seems the way the world is shaping. So it's literally the evolution of technology. I'm just curious to know if it's gonna be, how is that necessarily gonna operate in terms of like, is is there gonna be like a bank for it, like specifically, or other financial institutions, like for example, like Chase, is that gonna are they gonna, kind of incorporate that into their stream of revenue? I think it's a curiosity, and it's kind of inevitable too. You know what I mean? Like this has been buzzing for some time now. So now that I think a country is backing it, I think it will get the stability that it needs. What about you? What's your thoughts on crypto?
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point around having this like digital footprint, right? Like this new
Yeah,
way of life, right? Where it's like you have the Apple Wallet that now has
yeah,
your card
card,
in it,
yeah,
like it has everything that you need. You don't even need a physical card now. You can tap on machines like you were saying. You can go
hmm,
to stadiums or you can go to even movie theaters and they don't want you to pay with cash anymore. It's kind of crazy like to think about that, but that for years right now, crypto has been on that like everybody's top of mind. Like, is this something that is
yeah,
going to take off or take shape? And people have invested in it. I know people that have invested in it and they've
hmm,
made a lot of money, right?
money.
But like at the same time, you feel really weird about like it not having a backing. It's not the same as regular money where you have gold or other assets that are behind it. And now if there is a shift in the mindset of countries saying, "Oh, like we want to take this on, right? And we want to see what crypto could do for our economy," it will obviously leak into the global economy as well, too. Like, where is that all going to stand, like you said?
Hmm,
And what are these other financial institutions going to do with it?
hmm,
Are they going to use it in the same way? Are you going to be able to get, you know, a savings account that has like
yeah,
a tie to crypto? Like how is that going to work? It's how does it feed into the market the same way? Like how are you watching the ebb and flow of it if it is actually backed by true assets? Like I don't know. And then to me, I'm not sure if I would still invest yet or not, knowing that it's
hmm,
going to have a real financial and legal status. Maybe, but at the same time, I don't know, right? But investing in anything is always going to be a gamble. It's
yeah,
where are you going to land and what you're going to do. I think, like you said, the world is moving in that direction where you have this like digital component and less of that physical like touching of money and or like a car or whatever it is in business across the world. So it's exciting. Is it nerve-wracking? Yeah, because then are you going to create like currencies out of nothing in the future as well, and then does money really like
exist.
fully exist in a way? Like
Yeah,
there's so many weird questions around that whole thing, right? And like what it's truly backed by, but it's exciting to see where the world is going and what they
come,
want to
yeah,
try and where it's come from, right? Um, when we were younger, we didn't even have Wi-Fi. Like where I'm right now, and we're talking about it, and we didn't have like wireless internet, right? Like
hmm,
like so, the world has changed a lot. But that they released this earlier in the week that they are officially like putting a legal status on it. That's where things are going to change quickly, and other countries are going to dive into that too.
yeah. And just another thing too is just in the past, it was more so like a barter system where people were bartering on, um, food and animal stock and stuff like that. And then obviously we switched to coins, and
Hmm.
then we switched
And there
to,
was the
then
NFTs and
yeah, no, then it's the dollar, and now it's like we're getting into like this whole absence of anything physical, but more so it's a concept. And I know for a lot of people, especially the older generation, it might be a little, like you mentioned, nerve wracking to kind of hop into that space. But I mean, it's just the way things are going. That's really just, and I mentioned it too. Like it's just the inevitable of kind of the evolution of technology. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Eventually, I don't know, maybe you could just go somewhere and they just know how much money you have. It's also kind of weird too. It's like another thing is like how like what is the interest gonna be on this currency? You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like how are you gonna tax it? You know what I mean? Like how the
Mhm.
taxes are gonna work? Like for example, like the MTA is going through like this whole restructuring with the congestion prices and stuff like
Yep.
that. To kind of get more people to use the MTA. They're hopefully sprucing out the MTA system. How does that now? If we were to shift to crypto, how do we buy like Metro cards? Like, are they gonna remove the machines now? Like, how does these are all logistics that I guess Japan is figuring out, but also like when they incorporate it here, the government is gonna have to figure out as well on how this is gonna assimilate into our culture and our everyday life.
No,
Because
I
it is,
agree. There's definitely going to be regulations that need to be set, and like,
yeah,
how is that going to be kind of followed, right? Because this like digital world is almost like the wild wild west, where you can kind of do what you
yeah,
want when you want, where you want, with obviously some range of um barrier to entry in different areas. But like you mentioned, like how are we going to use it on a day to day?
mm,
Because you know that like the MTA is already doing this. They're already putting in places where you can just like tap your phone and now you can pay with Apple Pay or you can pay
yeah,
previously. But like
mhm,
the whole thing around having a subway card was that you had the card in hand and
yeah,
like
just like
that's where
yeah,
the cash was held, right? Or like the money or monetary value was held. So it's like weird to think about it in that way that
yeah,
something will be completely like digital and separate, but also completely the same and used in the same fashion. So what you can
yeah,
go to a bodega and pay for a bagel the same way with a couple crypto dollars than you would with like regular money, I guess, right? But like, how
yeah.
is that going to affect businesses?
Well, especially restaurant establishments, like how is that gonna operate given like tips and are you gonna accept tips and I guess crypto? I
I
don't know, like
guess I don't know.
yeah, yeah. That's just it's just like I said. I think especially the restaurant business that's going to be very interesting because they operate on tips and they there's a lot of gratuity in there and there's taxes and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously how all businesses adapt to it, but specifically restaurants as well. And it's like a kind of like a high risk, high reward type of scenario with crypto. So
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like, you know, Japan is not huge, but they do make an impact on the global economy. And now
yeah,
it's not a country that's just like, oh, like, we bring in a small percentage of what the world does. Like they are a huge exporting company as I mean company, country as well. And like if they're gonna tie this into their economy, what are they doing to take baby steps to then know that it's gonna be released to the world in that way and like in a way where it's actual currency where it's not
yeah,
now, right? Like there you can buy things with Bitcoin, you can buy things with crypto, but it's not the
yeah.
same as what it will be in the future.
Future, yeah.
So
Well, home
home
team,
team,
yeah,
you hit
let
it
us know.
first.
Yeah. Let us know how do you feel about crypto? How do you feel about it being a validated currency? And that's kind of let us know what is your thoughts on the digital footprint that's being kind of progressed upon us in today's society. So, well, definitely want to hear your thoughts regarding that. I brought up restaurants.
Mhm.
Dougie, me and you are big foodies over here.
Love
Jan
it.
too. Jan is also a big foodie. One of our favorite things to do is go for brunch. We love a
Mhm.
nice brunch. So kind of going into the chill and that segment of the session. What is your favorite breakfast food of all time?
My favorite breakfast food of all time has to be so we as a kid growing up, my stepdad made this for me all the time. And it was like my favorite breakfast food ever. And it's called a one-eyed soldier. And you might know it as like a bird in the nest or like
Okay.
something along the lines of that. But basically it's a nice piece of toast that you have, right? And you cut out the center of the
Center,
toast.
yeah.
Yep. And then you had that toast all buttered up. You put the toast down onto the pan and you crack an egg right inside there,
Inside it, yeah.
right? And dude, that is the best breakfast. Like it turns into a nice over easy, over medium egg with your toast around it. You don't even have to make toast separately. And then, you got to get yourself a hash brown and some
Yeah.
sausage and throw that right on there. And we used to make sandwiches at it. So we would call them one eyed soldiers. So before we would go like ice fishing or like going out and doing anything, like hunting or anything, we'd make those in the morning and they were the best, dude. I remember it like it was yesterday, and like he would always make a nice hash brown or a side of home fries, and you'd be good to go, dude. Like that was my favorite for sure. What about you? What was your favorite breakfast?
Well, bacon is my favorite food, breakfast food of it. I'll eat bacon with anything. So it's kind of funny as when I was younger, and I didn't even know this would eventually to become to know to me as the staple in New York City. But
Hmm.
I was young and I just love bacon. I would go to a restaurant and get a just bacon on a bagel with a side of cranberry juice. That was my
Oh,
thing. My mom would make it as well. And then eventually it started developing into bacon and eggs on a bagel. And then obviously it kind of grew
hmm,
into bacon, eggs on a roll and stuff like that, which as I got older, recognized that it is a staple in
hmm.
your culture. But honestly, like in terms of and I would say bacon is my favorite of all time, but I don't have like a specific dish. It's just I just love breakfast in general. So
And
my
when
mom,
you say breakfast, like what's that window look like for you? Is it like you have to be eating breakfast but between like 7 and 9, or you're eating breakfast between like 8 and like 11:30? Like what are you thinking? And or do you actually like breakfast better at dinner than you do
I
at
was just
breakfast time?
I'll eat breakfast literally whenever.
Whenever.
I'll eat breakfast in the middle of the afternoon if I have to. If I wake up, my first thing I'm doing is I'm eating breakfast. Like I absolutely breakfast is something that
And
you
when
know
you say breakfast, you mean you're eating eggs or you're eating
no
any kind of breakfast?
no I'm eating any kind of breakfast, like whether it be like French toast, whether it be egg like a bacon egg sausage omelet, or
Ooh.
eggs Benedict, or French toast, Belgian waffle. It don't really matter. I'll Any time of the day is what I'm gonna get breakfast. But obviously, to answer your first question, really, I'm not really a morning person like that, so it's really kind of when I get up. But probably like any 8. I guess the generic time window would be from like 8 to 11, because like 12 is like
Mhm.
that quote unquote brunch time, which
Yeah.
we love brunch. But even at brunch, I'm getting breakfast. I'm not getting
Yeah, I'm not getting a lunch. That's for
yeah, I'm not
sure.
getting. I'm definitely getting brunch. So I mean, I'm getting breakfast. I'm sorry. So I don't really have like a
Yeah,
favorite
if we do
breakfast of all
brunch
time.
though, like I'm definitely doing like steak and eggs or
Yeah,
like something that's a little like on the hardier side because you know it's like closer to lunch, but like,
Yeah,
oh, dude, yeah, I love me some breakfast, bro. Oh my god.
breakfast is a I don't know, like even like late at night, like when you go out after like a you go out clubbing or whatever, out to the bars. What are you getting after? You're not. It's either one or two things. You're getting pizza because it's right there, dollar
Yep.
slice, or you're gonna stop in a diner and you're gonna get breakfast. Like that. That's just the reality of the New York culture. And I'm pretty sure any state, or I don't know how it is like outside in the world, but for Americans, it's like you go out, you're gonna go to a diner, you're gonna get breakfast. It's just
Yeah, dude.
reality.
Oh my gosh. I literally love a good breakfast like wrap too. Like a breakfast burrito is like one of my
Right.
favorite things. Oh my god. With
With
just
the
like a
home fries.
nice, yeah, a nice freaking like omelet that gets put in there, with maybe a little bit of mushrooms and like Parmesan cheese. Oh my God. And
God,
then you got your hash brown, you got your sausage, you got your bacon, wrap that up, put it on the griddle and smack it down. Oh my God, dude.
yeah, my
So good.
mom, like my family is very big on, like, when I would wake up, my mom used to always do like pancakes, sausage, bacon,
Hmm.
eggs, all that stuff. So I kind of grew up on the whole breakfast like aspect of things. Obviously, we had lunch and dinner, but like breakfast is like, oh, like Christmas is around, make a
Hmm.
big breakfast. Oh, family's around. Like my grandmother would come in, and by the way, my actually, I'm not gonna lie to you, my grandma specifically is hands down one of the best cooks I ever met in my life. Her food is absolutely amazing. But every time she would come over, she knew me and my brother wanted those pancakes, bro. She makes the most fluffiest pancakes ever.
What's the secret, bro? What's the secret?
Honestly, I thought it was she told me she puts eggs in her pancakes and then obviously a little bit of cinnamon. But I don't know. I just feel like there's another missing ingredient that she has in there that she's not letting on. And I don't know. Her pancakes are absolutely it's so like it's as if you got it from a restaurant. You know what
Ooh.
I mean? It's a pancake has a nice ratio from like fluffiness to like
Hmm.
crispy edges. But
Savory. Oh
yeah,
my
savory with the
gosh.
syrup. Yeah, and making me hungry right now. But yeah, I would say that's like another additive in terms of like, what I would want for breakfast.
Dude,
Okay.
a good freaking waffle, like a good solid waffle with like fruit
Can
on
never go
it
wrong.
can never go wrong. Like a diner is one of my favorite places to go to, I think ever. Like they have so many good things. Like I love breakfast, don't get me wrong, but like you were talking about brunch, I really like brunch when you're like, all right, I'm going to lean on the brunch side of things and I'm going to go with like a BLT with like my mimosas. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, I love that so much. Like a nice crispy like rye toast with the bacon, the lettuce and
Yeah.
tomato. Oh
Oh
my
man.
god.
So
Dude,
on the topic of brunch, what I know you mentioned your favorite meal. I kind of alluded to my favorite meal, but if you're not home, what is the restaurant that you love to go to get your breakfast?
mm. So probably a lot of people won't know this, but like we will definitely know this. I love the Mount Kisco Diner. Like we are like
Oh,
25 minutes from the Mount Kisco Diner. If you've never been to the Mount Kisco Diner,
get
you
there.
absolutely have to
Home
go.
team, get to the Mount Kisco
It
Diner.
is a by far the best experience of a
Yeah,
diner that I have ever been to. And they have the widest range of foods. Like the chef there is amazing. Like I can't
yeah,
believe the things that they can like he can do and that kitchen can do. But dude, the experience there like is nice. The booths are
yes,
really nice. They always keep everything clean.
very
It doesn't
comfortable.
feel like sometimes you go to a diner, it feels like the food is a little bit like greasy. Like it's a little
Yeah,
extra and you're like, oh, all right, I'm gonna eat it because like I love diner food, but like I'm gonna
this is
go
a
home and my stomach is gonna hurt. Right. And
yeah,
I'm gonna have to take Pepto like for sure.
yeah,
Theirs, it feels like clean. Like they go above and beyond making sure they clean the kitchen and making sure that you feel comfortable. And then they bring the experience to you, dude. Like
yeah.
that is by far the best restaurant to go to for breakfast food and or diner food in Westchester, I would say. In Westchester,
Yeah.
New York, that is the best place to go. If you have not been there, home team, get there, right? And
Stat.
I would say the other not restaurant that I would put into the top, and this is more of just like a go get a sandwich or like a
I
deli,
know where
whatever you
I think
want to
I think I know
call
where
it.
you're going.
Millwood, New York. Everybody's gonna be
Oh
like, "Where the hell is Millwood?" Like
yeah.
Millwood, New York. There is a place called what is it? What's it called, Chaz? You know what it's called?
Is Rockies.
It's Rockies,
Rockies.
bro. Rockies. That is the
Oh,
best spot to go deli to go get a quick Sammy. And they make some of the best breakfast sandwiches
oh man.
ever. They'll put chicken cutlets on that thing, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, the freshest chicken cutlets, dude. Oh my god, I'm hungry right now. But those
Yeah,
two
hungry.
places, like, those are top spots in Westchester to go and get like food and to
Yeah.
experience like a really good time too. Cause like,
Yeah.
Rockies is not like a sit down place at all, but you're gonna get the experience there. You're gonna watch them like the line chefs making the food right in front of you. They'll cut the bagels. They
Color.
make all the bagels in house there, dude. It smells amazing.
Amazing.
Damn, that's where my mouth is like watering right now. I would definitely be there if I
Damn,
could.
Rockies a throwback. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh my god.
What about you, man? What are you thinking? Restaurant,
So
deli, bodega?
I was thinking, and for the home team that lives by me, in the Parchester area, there's a spot called Ellie's, and that was a staple for
Ooh.
me growing up because I would either get food like brought to the house from there, and because it was right by where I used to live in Parchester, but also we would go there a lot, and we kind of got cool with the the owners and stuff like that. Just like it's family owned, and with family owned restaurants, like they just added like a extra care to
Mm-hmm.
the experience and stuff like that. At first it was a hole in the wall spot, but very good food, and that's where my experience of the bacon and bagel kind of started developing, and they eventually moved, but within the area too. But I used to go there a lot when I was younger. I was gonna say for a sandwich spot. I thought you were going with this original spot, but then you brought up
Ooh,
Rockies
I know this spot
and
too, I think.
Westchester at home team in Westchester. You got to get to this spot also. Bagelicious,
Yes, bro. I knew you were gonna say that.
Bagelicious, Bagelicious. Like it was the
Thornwood.
best after like a Saturday morning going there, getting
Mhm.
their coffee. And then on top of that, getting their everything bagel, bacon, egg, and cheese. That was one of the best sandwiches I ever had. So, man, Bagelicious definitely a dope sandwich spot. Home team, go over there.
Yo, we just put out three really, really good breakfast spots for people to check out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then Millwood too. Rockies is another that's a great spot too. That's a really
Yeah,
great.
Bagelicious though, dude. They had those rainbow bagels, like, and they would put like a dollop, like a huge amount of cream cheese on there,
Cheese.
like the
Yeah,
smacking it. Oh my god, dude! And the perfect spot, like the perfect reason why that was a good spot, is it was right next to the liquor store. So if we needed to go to the liquor
yeah.
store, we could
We
pick
just
up
go to the liquor. Yeah.
the liquor store real quick and
Oh
pick it up.
man, nice little college experience. But yeah, Bagelicious is definitely the home team. If you haven't, get out there. Go to Mount Kisco Diner. That's another great spot.
Dude, we'll do that in a future episode for the home team. We'll list out like the top 5 spots they need to go to in the areas around us. That would be perfect.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. Home team. Let us know what your favorite breakfast food of all time is. We want to know. Also, what is your favorite home? I wouldn't say home, but what is your favorite place to go to get your favorite breakfast dish or
Hmm.
breakfast in general? Put us onto spots. We would
Yes,
love to
please.
know. We want to know where you guys frequent in terms of breakfast, and we're big foodies over here. So any recommendations help. maybe, just maybe down the line, we might do a little episode in one of these establishments. Never know. Just saying, putting it out
That'd be
there. But
cool.
let us know for sure. What's your thoughts and what are your recommendations? We would love to know. Um, well, speaking about food establishments, the greatest of all, there's nothing like a hot dog in Yankee
Yep.
Stadium. Uh, Yankees. Well, the Yankee season home opener was Thursday.
Thursday. Yep.
Um, we are Yankee season is up here. Baseball is back. Um, First
Let's
of
get
all,
it.
how do you feel about the Yankee season being back and just that baseball season also being back?
Dude, I'm excited. I think spring training was a lot of fun. There was a lot that was going on. You were trying to figure out what the dynamic of the teams were going to look like and how everybody was going to play, and then you get like the nonsense of like all these injuries, which I feel like that's something we need to talk about too. It feels like baseball, like more and more injuries are happening like
Yeah.
every year, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the off season that there's like
Mhm.
so many injuries when we first start, but hey, that's besides the point. Like getting back to baseball, knowing that the spring is here, you can smell in the air when you're in the ballpark. You can smell
Yeah.
those hot dogs, the beer, the just like the vibe.
Vibe. Yeah.
So give me some experience because you were at the game
Game.
the other
Uh,
day, and like let me know how that felt because it wasn't the home opener, but to me it was the home opener, right? That's the
yeah.
first game on the weekend where you know a lot of people are
Or
going to
people
be
gonna be
there,
yeah.
and it was
Um.
kind of opening the doors to the season.
Yeah. I mean, we went to when I got off the train and just saw it. I was just like, I'm back. We're back. We're so fucking back. Got online, went in, and just like you know, Yankees, Yankee Stadium, and a lot of other stadiums have this as well. Boston has this because they have a lot of history. I'm pretty sure if you go to the Staples Center, they have a lot of history. Well, sorry, Crypto Arena, but we know it as
Yeah,
Staples Arena. It'll always be Staples Arena to us. A lot some of these like parks have just like that authentic, rich, like you could just get that energy. So just being back and just walking into Yankee Stadium for the first time in the 2025 season was just elated feeling. Very happy. It was packed beyond measures. A lot of people there. Um, and just kind of how the game went. I mean, it was a great game for us. I don't know about the Brewers, I don't know about the Brewers, but it was just, there's nothing like when the Yankees are winning and that stadium crowd is going crazy. Even if they're doing bad, the stadium noise is just so like it's so large and a lot of players say this as well. In football they say it's like the crowd is like the 12th man
yeah,
on the roster and stuff like
yeah.
that. And that's just what it is in baseball. Like the fans and these like long historical stadiums, they feel like another spot on the roster. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
another like
So
defender or something in that way, right?
yeah, it was just good to be back. Obviously coming off of us losing Soto, it was kind of like, damn, like what do we see this team going? But I was saying at the game, like I think even before the game started, I feel like you know we're in a position where we didn't necessarily get another Soto, but we got pieces to fill that void of Soto. And then all of a sudden, Paul hits a homer, then Bellinger gets up, smacks another one. Then obviously Judge gets up, smacks a home run, and
Is
the
off 3 pitches in the first inning
all
already.
three. And what made it crazy is that it was off Nestor Cortez. So it was just like the energy was amazing. I think for Yankee fans that were there and also just watching, it was just like this is like experience that you're never gonna forget. Especially coming off of I don't want to mention it, but I had to. The World Series, it was just a good
Mhm.
way just to like kick off the season, and obviously wasn't really the home opener, but the home opener. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. One of my favorite things is like what you said, where you're online and you're going through and like you and I are talking, or I'm going to the game with Jan and we're just
Yeah,
talking, we're getting our heads into the
yeah,
mindset of going in, and then you walk in and you
yeah.
feel this like energy
Energy. Yeah,
of like all of these past experiences that have happened, all of these like amazing wins that have gone on. You know that the park is different. Obviously, they've updated it from the previous
yeah, yeah.
park, but like, or stadium, like, but you still feel the
The
culture there
history. Yeah,
and the history. And like, I love when you get up and you're walking around and you're getting to your seat and then you look around at all the cool, they had the flags up at the top of the
yeah,
stadium, like all the different flags are going. You see Monument Park with all the different,
yeah.
statues and
Legends.
things
Yeah,
and
yeah,
legends and
yeah.
everything. And it just feels different. Like when you go to some of those like newer parks, like the ones in like the one in Atlanta and then down in Miami, like it doesn't give you the
Do that
same
same.
vibe. And it just you feel rooted in this deep winning culture when you get in
Yeah,
there. And it saddens me that we got so far last year and came up
and
short, but I mean, give the respect to the Dodgers. They were a great team, but the
team. Yeah,
Yankees should have done what they needed to do to
to do
win.
when.
And they had the pieces to do it. And like you mentioned, no Soto now, but they're filling the gaps with guys that have either been MVPs before or just know how to play baseball, right? So
Yeah.
like sometimes the Yankees will like acquire somebody and you're like, all right, like this was a great name, but like they weren't ever somebody that was like rooted in really playing baseball well. Like that's
Hmm.
happened a few times. I think Paul Goldschmidt, I think Cody Bellinger, like these guys have been MVPs before. Like it's not like they don't know how to play baseball. It's been a long time, obviously,
Yeah.
but they will plug and play into this roster really easily. But yeah, I was excited to hear what you think about like the pitching, and because that was something that you and I were like hesitant about.
Yeah. I
How did it
think.
look while you were there?
I mean, obviously, by the looks of the game, Max Fry did a good job. I do think there was a lot of error, like some errors that could have been avoided. I know Paul Goldschmidt at first base, he looked kind of on the defensive end was kind of looking like they made some errors and stuff like that, which kind of ultimately cost us some runs. But overall, I mean, I think and like I say, I don't want to get my hopes up because it's the beginning of the season, but at the same time, it's a it's a good way to start. We know what we're capable of doing. And Max Friday, I think he's a solid pitcher. I was mentioning this also. I think he might actually be better than Rodon. I'm not, I think that might be the possibility. So we've won with pitching. That's just what historically our championships have proven. Um, yeah, so I think the pitching has, so far, and I think Max Fried pitched a good game. So let's just see how he does throughout the rest of the season. Hopefully he stays healthy, and hopefully he doesn't go into a slump, which it's kind of expected because
Hmm.
baseball is 162 games. You don't expect to pitch a great game every time you pitch. So yeah, I know he's gonna have some downfalls, but I hopefully he get back up and most importantly just stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree. He just needs to stay healthy and keep it moving and do the things that you need to do to be an ace. Because remember, no Cole this year now.
Yeah,
And this is our number one guy. Like we went out
yeah.
and we
If
paid
I'm
for
not,
you, right? Like, and we gave you a fat salary to come in and do the things that you need to do to make the Yankees better. So like that is um is my thought process there. Do you think the Yankees can win it all after seeing the first three games?
um, I don't know about that yet. I don't know if we can win it all. Because I just gotta see how this roster does throughout the season. If if you had to tell me just based off the game yesterday, I mean, I would say yes. But there's a lot of things that we need to see. We need to see how Paul does at first base. Volpe is still young,
Mhm.
Which I love the fact that he's getting, these young players are also getting their burn into the lineup as well. But they're young, and although I think him kind of coming off of that great game in the World Series, I think that will give him a lot of energy and enthusiasm during the season. But he's also young. He's viable to make a lot of errors and stuff like that. So I think it's just more so. Again, we mentioned it before. It's just staying the course. We never know what can happen. We don't have Stan either, and we don't have Cole. So
Mhm.
now we need to operate with what we have. We did also, along with Max Fryer, we did get Devin Williams, who's also a solid pitcher as well. So excited to see how he does. So if for right now, I want to say yes, but again, I don't want to get my hopes up because you never know what can happen throughout the season. What about you?
Yeah, I think that we're in like a pivotal time period to kind of focus in on what we need to do to win, which is like previously it was power and consistency.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's the same type of Yankees we have now. I think that we're trying to throw power at it, but the big thing is consistency. Are we going to see the same thing that we saw from Judge last year? Is he going to be that good all year the same way?
hmm
But then pick it up in the playoffs. Like you are our number one guy. Are these other guys that we acquired going to be consistent? Like that's the hard thing about baseball,
yeah,
right? Like you mentioned, it's 162 games. It's a long season. It's not quick,
yeah,
and you have to be consistent. You're playing baseball basically every day, for 6, 7 months, and maybe there's
yeah.
a few days off here and there throughout each week, but like consistency is key. And I feel like the Yankees, some years are really good at that, other years are not. And I think that that will make or break where they land. Just like you said, there's some young guys. They got Volpe, they got Jazz Chisholm, Chaz, they got Jazz
It
Chisholm.
rhymes.
They got a couple of other guys, right? That like are some young guys that are standout players and could really make an impact, but definitely need to um, dial it in and be consistent. That's the key word for me this year.
It's
Um,
consistency.
yep. On
And,
another note, we saw Soto fall on his face in the first game. He struck out as the last at bat,
yes,
and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And there you go, Mets. Enjoy.
yeah. Well, the thing I also want to say is that now Judge needs to be. I think this season, I don't care if you win the MVP or anything like that. It's gonna matter how do you take this team to the playoffs,
Hmm.
and which I know he can. And on top of that, how are you gonna be in the playoffs? It's for you, for Judge. Most
And he's not a
importantly,
young player anymore, dude. Like this is.
he's he's an elder statesman, as like in the sports world they like to call
Hmm.
it. But he needs to be consistent in the playoffs. So I if anything, I want to see him smack 3 home runs in a World Series game. That's what I
Yep.
want. I want him to. This is the energy I want from him being in the playoffs and also ultimately the World Series. So, um,
You need to
lo,
be a
lo,
seasoned vet player that does what he needs to do, is consistent, is a multi MVP player, and
yeah,
do those things in the playoffs. Like
yeah,
we know the Yankees are going to get there. The Yankees are that good. They when they get there though, they need to control the pace of the game, and that was
yeah,
something that they did not do well at all in the
yep,
World Series. They did it well in the other series that they played, but
yep,
there was a lot of reliance on Soto being the one to do anything, and that he's not on the team anymore. So somebody else has to be the backbone to do what we need them to do.
yeah.
Um, but I don't want
Wait,
to. I don't want to lose course on what you were going to say. So finish your thought there.
no, I was gonna ask this question. Since we lost Soto and he's on the Mets now, and obviously we have Judge. The question I got that got brought up to me was, is who's better, Judge or Soto? As a baseball player, what do you think? Home
As a
team, chime
base
in as well.
as a baseball player, um, fuck, this is a hard one. That's a
It's
hard
hard.
one.
Yeah.
As a baseball player, as a well-rounded baseball player, I have to go with Judge. I have to go with
Mm,
Judge because I believe Judge is the better defender. I believe Judge is the better slugger. I believe Judge is the better captain of a team, leader.
Yeah.
And I do think that Judge has more of the well-roundedness that you need as a player to be successful. And we've seen that. And he's made a statement on it. Soto has done that too, but I don't see as much of the consistency. But the hard part there is that Soto will always come up in the big spot and do what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
He's like Kobe Bryant. If the Lakers were down and they needed a win, Kobe's like, hand me the ball, I'm winning this game for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if Judge is that same person.
Well, and that's it.
Soto definitely is. So
Uh,
that's where my thoughts are. What do you think?
slugger is definitely Judge. Hands down, Judge is definitely the better slugger. Defensively, I'm not gonna lie to you. In my opinion, I'm gonna have to go with Soto. In my opinion, I seen Judge kind of even like yesterday, like and even last season, like there's like just some spots where I just feel like obviously he's gonna make the plays for sure, like but there's just sometimes there's lapses in his defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think
And,
he has the better arm, and
well,
obviously he has better range. Like Soto would never play center field ever.
and then that's what that was gonna be my next thing. Every time about versatility, Judge is also very versatile because he could play different positions. In the outfield. But it really just boils down, and I've said this on numerous occasions. It's just a matter of your it factor. Like, can you win games and then win it when it counts the most?
Mm-hmm.
And historically speaking, we just never seen that from Judge in terms of whether it be when we need it in the season or primarily where it counts in
Yep.
the postseason. So that's gonna be a huge notch on his shoulder. But I'm gonna say this. I compared him to James Harden in terms of him winning all these MVPs, but I'm gonna say this because I love Judge. It's kind of similar to a LeBron James. LeBron didn't get to the finals until his eighth year, and eighth, ninth year, and that's when he finally won it. And that's when he had his breakthrough moment when he had a collapse in
Mm-hmm.
the 2011 NBA Finals, and he came back and he won the next year. So hopefully, this collapse for Judge it can be a learning curve, and hopefully he'll prove us, me especially, which I want, wrong, and hopefully win us the World Series and establish himself as the better player than Soto.
Yeah, I think the hard part there is that the collapse with LeBron and then him coming back and
Yeah,
winning, we knew he was coming back with
yeah,
vengeance to win.
yeah,
And he was one of the best players and is one of the best players ever. But he was consistently always good in the playoffs, like always,
yeah,
right? Even though he
exactly.
got to the finals and they ended up losing, he was still the best player. Judge, on the other hand, has consistently not shown up in the playoffs. So you being like blowing like the entire World Series last year for us because we needed you and now you're not there, like that's been consistent multiple years. So
Yeah,
you need to get rid of that narrative altogether, meaning you need to change the direction of the team and your legacy. His
yeah,
legacy is tarnished right now. Like
yeah. It's
it's hurting
it's hurting
badly
bad. It's hurting
because you
bad.
can be an MVP all you want in the regular season. If you don't do anything in the playoffs, you become nobody.
Yeah, that's just sports.
Well,
Period.
but look at it, there's somebody that is literally what and is still one of the best baseball players, generationally over the last 10 to 15, 10,
I know
15
exactly what
years
you're gonna say.
who has never won ever. And he's won multiple MVPs, and his team consistently is not good, but he is great, right? And who is it?
I was gonna say Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. That was what I
Yeah,
was going to say too. He
but
is very, 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 very good. Will go to the Hall of Fame. and he's never won either. He's never even gotten a shot to go.
Shot. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it's
Well,
like the positioning Judge in the same realm as Harden is hard because Harden was consistently getting into the playoffs and was the only guy on the team making an impact. So when you're the only guy making an impact and nobody else on your team is doing anything except for when they brought in, CP3 that 1 year, and they hoped they were
yeah.
going to get far and they were actually making a stride, and then he gets hurt and it ends everything. That's different than Judge. Like, you're getting into the playoffs and you're consistently bad. At least Harden was consistently good. He just never won. It's the same thing,
Well,
right?
the thing with Harden too is just like Harden in the playoffs, he had a yes. There's some playoffs where he was the guy and he was doing what he had to do because you didn't have a team. But there's some playoffs where he just was completely non-existent, which
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of still is better than Judge because Judge is completely non-existent in the playoffs. So listen,
Yeah, you
I just
can't go from batting over 300 to batting like less than what you weigh and
yeah,
think that you're going to be consistent. Like, he was batting like 160, dude. It was the worst.
it was terrible. It has been terrible. And I just hope he just proves me wrong. I mean, I just hope this season he comes in with a vengeance. It looked like it yesterday. He hit three
But
bombs.
he did that in the regular season last year too.
Yeah, that's
Like
what I'm saying. So it's like, and he almost hit four, to be honest. He almost hit four. So listen,
Like he
I
will
love
be on pace to hit the most home runs. We know that for sure. He's always in that conversation. That's
yeah,
great and all, but that is baseball now. Like, that's just like how basketball is. Basketball is shooting threes. Okay, if you don't shoot threes and you don't have a good 3-point percentage, like, you probably shouldn't be a basketball player anymore at this
yeah,
point, right? It's the same with baseball. If you can't hit home runs and you can't hit for average, you probably shouldn't be a baseball player anymore, right?
yeah. I mean, you're right.
Like, it's crazy in that regard, but I do agree. I think that, and speaking about James Harden, not bashing him, the Clippers are right there now. They have to make a run into the playoffs too if they want to do anything, because also Kawhi is now healthy. But I just don't. I can't see them being the same category when it
Yeah,
comes to playoff like performances and or being the only category I can say that they meet the same criteria is that they've never won a chip, and
yeah,
that's it. I don't know, but I think that the Yankees could win it all. I think that there's a lot of things that have to align like perfectly to get there.
hmm
There's a couple of very tough teams that they're gonna have to play. Obviously, the tough team wasn't the Brewers. We thought the Brewers were gonna have better pitching. They didn't. So that was an
Listen,
exciting game.
the tough team is the Dodgers. That's the team that you need to beat. If you don't beat the Dodgers, then yeah, that's just
And they
who.
consistently just get better every year.
Yeah, and they just added another I think another Japanese pitcher. They're getting all these
Mm-hmm.
Japanese pitchers that are absolutely incredible. So hopefully the Yankees can pull through. I know, like, kind of switching gears a little bit. I know March is when baseball
The
season
other
comes back.
madness.
The other madness is March Madness. We're at the Final Four. It's flying. The Final Four is here. A lot of upsets have happened. Not really. This year hasn't been that many upsets. But the big one that me and you were talking about is the Arkansas St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
St. John's lost to Arkansas, and they kind of, they're out. They're out. We were expecting St. John's to pull through, but I think Calipari got the best of Patino.
Dude, literally that Arkansas team should not have even gotten that far. But their coach is amazing. He's one of the best
Yeah,
coaches in college basketball history.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like you knew that they were coming in, and St. John's just didn't play well
Yeah,
at all. And like their best player, who was like, was he named player like what Big Ten Player of the Year or whatever, or
yeah.
Pac-12 Player of the Year? What was he? Um,
Uh,
like I
hold,
don't remember what it was,
hold on.
but either way, he didn't play for the last like 5 minutes of the game. Like, they benched him too. Like, where was he that he's your best player? That's like if you're saying, "Here, LeBron, take a seat. We don't need you anymore."
I think
No,
Lewis, his name is Lewis Jr. I think his first name is hold
but like they should have been much better. They should have went for way
RJ Lewis Jr. That's his name.
RJ, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he didn't do
like
nothing.
that destroyed my that side of my bracket.
Yeah.
Because I had them going like at least to the Sweet 16 against Florida. Um, which Florida has been consistent. I feel good about them. They're ready to rock and roll in this Final Four. So,
Well, I mean, uh, St. John's had 9 turnovers. I mean, their free throw percentage wasn't that great either. I mean, 19 for 27 at the free throw line, shooting 70% from the free throw line is kind of abysmal.
mm-hmm,
I'll let it. A lot of me could cut you some slack a little bit because you're not a pro yet. But at the same time, if you're playing in a March Madness tournament,
mm-hmm,
you should be knocking these free throws down. And they don't have shooters, which no, I'm so yeah, they were 9% from the 3 point.
mm-hmm. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was just a terrible game for them, and also they shot 28% from the field as well. So,
Where
um,
they averaged over 48% from the field throughout the whole year, and they averaged like 32% from three. They were like one of the
yeah,
best 3 point percentage shooting teams in the country, and they fell fast. But
it's just
that's how the tournament is, right?
yeah,
If you're not consistent, and you're not playing good, you're out, and that's it.
yeah.
You could be a
That's
one
just
seed or you could be a 16 seed, and it is what it is, and you're done.
um,
So it happened to Clemson too in the first week,
yeah.
right? We brought that up. McNeese beat them, and that was it. That ruined my whole bracket on that on the
Well,
Midwest
yeah,
side
yeah,
too.
because I had Clemson going to the Final Four, and that just tarnished my whole bracket. But our biggest thing is Duke.
Hmm.
Duke.
I have Duke
They,
winning it all. I think I told you that
yeah,
like last week too in the sesh, and I I don't see any team like
beating them.
beating them
So
because
they
they smoked Alabama by 20.
by 20.
And
And
Alabama broke a record with threes the previous game. They had like
um
113 points. Dude, they only scored 85 against Duke. Like it was wild.
they shot 54% from the field, 46% from 3 point range, 86% from the free throw line. They have 41 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, 30 defensive rebounds, 19 assists, and not to mention well they had a high number of turnovers, but I mean this is what it is. When you have a high number of turnovers, but you're doing what you need to do on the whatchamacallit, on the offensive end, and they're just a great team. Literally a great team. They have
Hmm.
obviously you have Cooper Flag, you got Knoepel, you got I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Malakuk,
Now it's it.
Malich. Proctor is another person who has been shocking me this whole March Madness kind of tournament. And they got John Shire at the helm, who's been on the Duke championship team, so he
Hmm.
knows he's cut from that pedigree. So yeah, and I love Cooper Flag. I think he's a great player. He's a great talent. His jump shot has gotten better. And he's a winner. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree 100%. I think he was what 16-9-3, killing it. But almost all of their starters had 10 plus points.
Yeah,
So it's like if you're going to consistently have five guys scoring at least 10 points, like no one's beating you. And like you said, they had them like 40 some odd rebounds. They were out rebounding Alabama like crazy, but Alabama is a smaller team. Like they're really not as big as them.
yeah,
And Mark Sears was non-existent, and that's
yeah,
your best player.
yeah,
He played 31 minutes and only had 6 points and six
yeah,
assists. Like that's at least. I mean, on the assist side, you did what you needed to do. That was your job. But like, you are the best player. You should be scoring 20 points. Every other tournament game, you scored at least 20 points. Where are you? They were like searching for this guy. They put out a APB
uh,
to figure out
ABB.
where the fuck he was.
I mean, Duke had a close game with Arizona, and Caleb Love had like he had 35 points, which I mean, coming from your best guard, I mean, that's just at that point you're running up against the best team at that point. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like they're the best.
I feel bad for Caleb Love though and his legacy, like moving from North Carolina to
Yeah,
Arizona to hopefully like transferring to hopefully get that win before he goes to the
the
NBA because
NBA. Yeah,
he's moving on. Like his
for sure.
collegiate career is done, but because he's a solid player, so wherever he lands, like great for that NBA team. But like I thought Arizona was going to put a more of a hurting on them, like keep them tight, and it wasn't. Like,
Yeah,
not many of these teams can keep up with Duke. Like, and you thought teams like them and Alabama would be like Arizona and Alabama because they put up a lot of points and
yeah,
they stopped
yeah.
them. Like,
Um,
I didn't realize how big Cooper Flag was either. Like, he's a
he's six
big dude.
nine. He's like
He's a
6'10".
big dude. Like,
He's 6'10", and he could. He's like I don't want to necessarily compare him to KD, but he is kind of cut from that KD cloth of being tall, could shoot the ball, dribble and stuff like that. Obviously as a college player, you always want to polish up your game, but
mhm.
I just think man, that boy's a talent, man, for
So
sure.
you think he's the real deal? He's the number one pick in this upcoming draft for sure.
I don't know. I don't see nobody being
I think
knocking
Duke is
him.
going to lose at least three guys to the draft,
Yeah,
which
I mean, I
will
think
include
the
Flag
class,
and Proctor.
and it may be Canopal. I don't know how
Hmm.
what is Canopal. Maybe I to me, I think he's the best player in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just think he's the best player in the
And if he
tournament.
does get drafted, does he make an impact on the team right away? Like, is he a Wembanyama or like a LeBron James? Like, is he gonna be a generational player, or you think he's consistent and he's gonna be an all star or like a superstar for a team, but he's more of a Jason Tatum, a Jalen
So
Brown,
I don't think he's nothing like
John
because
Morant?
first of all, like we never seen nobody like Wemby. Like Wemby coming in and being 7'4" and can handle and do everything that he's doing, we never seen. And I think that's an aspect of being a generational talent is there has to be something that you have we've never seen. Steph, we never seen nobody
Mm-hmm.
shoot the lights out from Mars. Like this guy is pulling up from the galaxy, and
Mm-hmm.
LeBron,
From
we
the
never
Milky
seen
Way and fucking making shots.
exactly. We never seen nobody like LeBron. Like we saw Magic, and we never seen
Mm-hmm.
Magic either. But then
Yeah.
LeBron, we never seen somebody that could pass the way Magic could pass, but also score the way MJ could score, and but
Mm-hmm.
also play the defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you know, having this generational talent, I think we seen what Cooper like. We seen like obviously KD. We're saying that
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of like in that KD realm. But I think the big thing with Cooper Flag is his mentality. I think he has like that mentality of like I just want to win and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is gonna carry him far in the NBA. So to answer your question, he will have a direct impact into the NBA because of his mentality, and not to mention his skill set. And it also really depends on what team that he goes into. Like Wemby went to the Spurs, and even though Pop is not coaching there, the Spurs are a great franchise. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like they have a historical. They're historically known for winning. So it depends on what franchise he goes to, but I just think off the bat, he will have a good a great impact on the team that he goes to. What about you? What's your thoughts on Cooper Flag? And is
I
there anybody else that could that's in the tournament that is aligned with Cooper Flag and maybe he's better on the same par as him? What do you think?
I don't think anybody else is as good as he is. I do think that there are some players that will be NBA players.
Yeah,
We talked about Caleb Love, we talked about Proctor. There's a couple of other guys, specifically on Florida. They have two guys that I think are going to be as well. But for Cooper Flag, I agree. I think he needs to go to the right organization. The hard part is all the organizations at the bottom of the barrel or the bottom of the
or
pack right now are not great organizations.
yeah,
Besides maybe the Spurs. But like Portland's down there, New Orleans, like the Pelicans, the Jazz, um, Charlotte, the Washington Wizards. Like these are organizations that aren't perfect. They aren't great. Like they don't really have great like general managers. There's not really good
Hmm.
leadership up top. Like that's why they're at the bottom. They don't pick well in the draft. So like
Hmm.
I'm trying to like think of an organization where if he landed there, it would be the best opportunity for him to take off. And out of those ones that I said, I think that the Jazz would be the best spot for him to land
Yeah.
out of those bottom tier organizations just because they are a little bit better.
Yeah.
And they have Keontae George, like they already have somebody that,
Marketing.
yeah, they have Laurie Markkinen. They already have a couple of pieces that make the team better. And now
Hmm.
you just throw Flag in there and he does what he does. Like, you don't have to be the best player. You can come up as, just like a role player that then turns into the best player, right? Because you have George, because you have Marketing, like, and then the Jazz is historically a good team, right? Like we
Yeah.
know that they've done well in previous seasons, and back in the day, they were one of the best teams
Yeah.
in basketball.
Unfortunately,
So
they
like
ran into Jordan.
exactly, unfortunately, they ran into the goat or one of the goats, and they weren't ever to get past that point. But I just don't see any other organizations doing right by him. Like if
Yeah.
he lands with the Hornets, okay, great. Like you're with LaMelo Ball. Like I just don't think that makes you better. Um, they didn't
Let's
do
not
right
forget.
by LaMelo either. I feel like they're
Yeah.
still trying to figure out what's good for him, and he
Well,
hasn't even played 50 games. But I don't
the
know.
Jazz got D Wade as a he's a part owner in that team. I don't know if he's a minority owner, but he has some type of ownership stake in that team. So I think that like adds another like all right level. It's like when you have Magic
Hmm.
coming in as an owner. It's like he's bringing in that energy, that winning energy. So I think honestly, you're right. I think the Jazz might be the best fit for him. I do think him and Lowry are kind of like the same player, but who knows? You may get Keontae Jordan on that break, put Lowry or Cooper at the 3 and the 4, and now you got Kessler at the 5. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Or they'll figure out how to do it. Or maybe you go big. Maybe you get like a undersized a power forward, and you put Cooper at the 2 and the 3. I think there's a lot of options with that team. And if I'm not mistaken, who's the heck? They have a good coach too. Not like he's a solid head coach. Hold on, coach Will Hardy,
Hmm.
who he's kind of making a decent impact on that team. So I think you're right. The Jazz will be the better fit. You also mentioned the Trailblazers, and although they're in a little bit of a shamble right now, I will say having Chauncey Billups as the head coach would be good for Cooper Flag. In terms
Hmm.
of being like a mentor and stuff like that, and having again Chauncey Billups won in 2004, so having that championship aspect, but also just Chauncey Billups is to me one of the underrated point guards that we've seen because you know what I mean
Hmm.
in terms of just how he leads and stuff like that. So I
But I was
think
thinking about that team because they have the two guards already. You got Klingon from last year's draft, and
yeah,
now you don't really have anybody that
to fit.
puts like to fit into that like 3-4 slot that you need,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think
So
that
we'll
they can
see.
make an impact.
Yeah, so we'll see where he lands, but I just think just to go back on your question, I think there's nobody better than him in this tournament, in my
Hmm.
opinion. But I mean, you mentioned Florida. Florida does have Clayton Jr., who I
Yep.
think is definitely gonna be going to the NBA as well. I think he's a stud. But I just think Cooper Flag is definitely the best player in the tournament, and Duke is gonna win the national title. It's just
Yeah,
inevitable.
I think so too. I agree. I think you know Auburn has a couple of good players. Michigan State has a couple of good players. They got Sears, who will definitely be in the draft as well. But yeah, I think Flag is the real deal. I do think Duke will end up winning the whole thing. And it's going to be tough on any of these other teams to get past them. That's for sure. So
Uh, well, we're nearing the end of our session. And as always, home team, let us know who do you think who's gonna win the March Madness tournament. Um, it's getting to the wire. Championships are this week, so let us know in the comments who you got. But as always, we always want to end it off on a positive note with elevated advice, sponsored by Dougie
co-star, baby.
Co-Star.
We're waiting for the deal here. I'll put my
uh,
John Hancock on there whenever you need me to.
Ready to is our John Hancock is ready to go on that contract anytime. But what's the elevated advice for you from you, Dougie?
The elevated advice to wrap up this awesome episode 6 and this session with all the home team is start by liking yourself. Self-respect
Mm,
will follow. So
mm,
I think that one is really, really good. There's a
yeah,
lot to unpack there. I think, knowing and caring about yourself and being confident in yourself and understanding and liking who you are is only going to make you a better person. You are who you are. Obviously, you can change. Obviously, you can do better by yourself and try to be positive, mentally, physically, spiritually, like we always talk about. Those are all important aspects of your life, but actually giving a shit about yourself and who you are and what you represent and what you bring to the table is only going to help down the line with your own self-respect and the respect that others give you too. And how you show up every day is important. So I think that one was pretty deep advice. Would love to hear what the home team has to say, but I'll reiterate it again. Start by liking yourself. Self-respect will follow. Things will follow. Good things will follow. And if you surround yourself with good people, like you are now with us with the pod, and being a part of it, and the growth that we have, it'll only get better from here. What do you think,
yeah.
CJ?
I
What about
mean,
that? Is
I
uh
mean,
is all
kind of.
encompassing on your end?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said everything. But I'll just say like, if you don't love yourself, if you don't like yourself, nothing else is gonna follow. So yeah, just if you love yourself and you love what you're doing, and if, you're happy with yourself, and loving yourself is the greatest self form of love. Eventually, everything else will follow. But I agree with
100.
everything you said. You pretty much hit the nail on the head on that one. My elevated advice today is don't worry about the opinions of anyone else. And it kind of coincides with what you mentioned with your elevated advice as well. Is sometimes you just gotta beat to your own drum,
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about what other people think, and other people's opinions, because they might weigh you down. You may have big dreams, and maybe somebody else's opinion ain't that big. So you know what I mean? So they're not thinking big, and then you associate yourself with a small opinion, then
Mm-hmm.
now your big dreams aren't gonna get accomplished. So I just think, it's good to take people's criticism into effect. I mean, into consideration, but also just be wary about whose opinion you're really taking, because it may not really be a positive one. It may be a negative one, and may derail you from your goals, your aspirations, and your ambitions. So definitely don't worry about opinions of others. Everybody has an opinion, so just do what you gotta do. Absorb it, and just move forward. What about you? What you think about that?
Yeah, I think about that in this way, right? Opinions from others, negative or positive, are always criticisms that you can turn into positive reinforcement and positive
Mm,
attributes in yourself. Everybody's going to have an opinion about you. People aren't going to like you, people are going to like you. That's just how life is. And
yeah,
at the end of the day, if you let that sink in and you allow that to be part of like your core, if it's negative, it's going to bring down your mindset. It's going to bring
yep,
down who you are. So, any type of opinion, take it in as a positive criticism to yourself and learn and grow from it and work off of it, right? Like it, everything that happens around us can go in one ear and out the other. It's
yeah,
whatever ways that you want to take that advice, opinion, whatever it ends up being, it's whatever ways you want to take that, ingest it or absorb it, like you said, and then put out the feelers after the fact. Having a
Yeah.
negative connotation will bring you down, right? It will not have you won't have a positive mindset. So like, don't let the little things get to you.
Yeah.
But on the same side, if you got them haters, let those haters drive your success because that's the only way that you're gonna be coming up, right?
Yeah.
So I like that advice. I really do. Home team, you take it in, think about it, drop some comments around what you think around, CJ and my advice from today's episode. Would
All
love
for
to
your own
hear it.
advice. All for your own
Or
advice.
for your own advice. Yeah, would love to hear it. But, at the end of the day, what like what is it, the saying is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but
Well, yeah.
words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
So that's the way that
All
I
right.
think about it.
All right. And that's a wrap. Dougie, it's always nice talking to you, chopping it up with you. Home team is always good to engage with you guys. You guys are the best. You guys are making this happen, especially where we come. Again, as always, we're on every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah. And Dougie, it's been a pleasure. Home team, it's been a pleasure. Until next time.
Till next time, CJ, thank you again. Home team, we love you. Thank you for all the support, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
All
Talk
right, take
later.
care.
Bye.